Since the earliest days of humanity, civilizations around the world believed there were places where heaven touched the earth, and others where the abyss opened beneath their feet. Among all these mysteries, none was feared more than the so-called Gate of Hell, mentioned in the Bible, feared by ancient peoples, and surrounded by accounts that survived thousands of years. And that is exactly the mystery you're about to hear today. A truth modern archaeologists struggle to explain, biblical scholars avoid discussing, and one that may reveal something far deeper than we imagine. Everything begins with a cryptic line in Matthew 16:18, when Jesus says, "The gates of hell shall not prevail." For centuries, many treated this as a metaphor. But what if it wasn't? What if there was, in fact, a physical, real place that ancient civilizations believed was the entrance to the underworld? The Bible describes the abyss, the prison of fallen angels, the Tartarus, and caves so deep they were called the dwelling of shadows. These descriptions always sounded symbolic until 2013. In that year, a team of Turkish archaeologists made a disturbing discovery. They found a site called Plutonium near the ancient city of Hierapolis. Ancient people believed no one should approach that place. Animals that got too close died instantly. Priests who entered never returned. Old Greek texts describe the location as the gate to the world of the dead. When modern researchers investigated, they witnessed something that confirmed part of these stories. Birds flying over the area dropped dead, as if an invisible force pulled them to the ground. The initial explanation was simple. A hidden fissure released toxic gas capable of killing small animals instantly. But that didn't explain everything. It didn't explain the ancient terror surrounding that place. It didn't explain why different cultures, Hebrews, Greeks, Sumerians, Mesopotamians, spoke of a portal to the underworld in that exact same region. The biblical connection grew stronger. In the book of Job, the gates of death are described as a real location. In Revelation, an angel descends with a key to open the bottomless pit. In one of Peter's letters, fallen angels are imprisoned in Tartarus, in chains of darkness, awaiting judgment. When researchers compared these descriptions with the geography of Hierapolis, they discovered it was the same region where ancient traditions claimed the fallen watchers had been imprisoned. That alone would be unsettling, but it gets worse. Even with modern technology, certain phenomena at the site make no sense. Small animals die instantly from the gas, but humans, during certain seasons, can enter without any harm. Acoustic sensors inside the cave record an unnatural silence, as if the sound is being absorbed by something unseen. Ancient reports tell of voices, shadows, and rituals performed by priests who claimed to communicate with beings that came from the darkness. And then comes the most alarming part. Completely separate cultures, with no contact between them, described similar portals. Entrances to the underworld inside deep caves, smoking mountains, or mysterious fissures. This led to a disturbing theory. Some scholars believe the biblical gate of hell was not only a spiritual concept, but also a physical representation of locations where intense supernatural activity occurred. Places so feared that ancient peoples marked them as portals between worlds. Plutonium would be only one of them, not the only one. There are other places on Earth with similar phenomena: unexplained animal deaths, strange echoes, apparitions, ancient legends, and stories of people who entered and never returned. Some are in the Middle East. Others, surprisingly, are in Europe, and all of them share nearly identical descriptions, centuries apart. So the big question remains: was the gate of hell described in the Bible real, symbolic, or both? What we know today is that ancient civilizations may have understood far more about spiritual forces and forbidden places than we can imagine. And the most disturbing part is that plutonium is not the only one. There are other portals, some still active, and one of them, according to archaeologists, ancient texts, and modern accounts, is considered the most dangerous of all. For decades, this location remained hidden from the public, known only to a handful of historians and researchers who understood the magnitude of what they were dealing with. The place was feared not by superstition, but by evidence, real events, real disappearances, real phenomena that no scientific report could fully explain. The name of this site appears in ancient Assyrian tablets, in forbidden Hebrew writings, and even in early Christian manuscripts that never made it into the biblical canon. In every single one of these documents, the description is the same: a crack in the earth where the living feel watched, where the air becomes heavy, and where animals refuse to enter. Modern archaeologists gave it a simple name, the Black Chasm, but ancient texts called it something far darker, the mouth of the deep. Located somewhere between the borders of modern-day Turkey and Syria, this place was once the center of a powerful cult that claimed to communicate with the beings below. Archaeological digs uncovered altars, burnt offerings, and symbols identical to those found in Israel, Greece, and Mesopotamia, hints of a unified ancient fear. But the most disturbing discovery was a series of tunnels descending into the earth. Temperature drops instantly. Electronic devices malfunction. And the deeper you go, the louder a low, vibrating hum becomes. A sound that appears on recorders even when no human ear can detect it. In 2019, a group of researchers entered the chasm to perform acoustic mapping. The mission was supposed to last 3 hours. Only 4 made it out, and those who survived reported the same thing. We heard voices, whispering, calling us by name. Their recordings were confiscated, their statements sealed, and the site was quietly closed, officially due to instability of the ground. But there was another reason, a reason hidden from the public. Deep inside the chasm, researchers discovered a wall covered with inscriptions, and among them, a phrase almost identical to the one found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Here fell the watchers who defied the Most High. This single detail changed everything, because it connected the Black Chasm directly to the same beings mentioned in Genesis 6, in the Book of Enoch, and in ancient Jewish traditions. The fallen angels who corrupted mankind and were imprisoned until the final judgment. If this place was truly one of their prisons, then the legends were not just myths. They were warnings. Warnings about locations where the boundaries between the physical and the spiritual become dangerously thin. And here is where the story becomes even more unsettling. For centuries, villagers reported lights coming from the ground at night, not flames, not reflections. Lights that pulsed like a heartbeat. Shepherds spoke of shadows that moved independently of the people casting them. Travelers described hearing footsteps behind them, despite being completely alone. And on 3 separate occasions, entire groups vanished near the site, leaving behind tools, clothing, and footprints that simply stopped at the edge of the chasm as if they had been lifted into the air. What's even more shocking is that satellite images from the last decade show sporadic heat signatures emerging from deep underground in a location where no volcanic activity exists. Scientists tried to explain it as geological anomalies, but internally, many of them admitted they had no idea what they were seeing. Ancient texts warned that when the earth trembles and the deep stirs, the chains of the imprisoned grow weaker. And some historians believe these events could be signs that something beneath the chasm is waking or shifting. This raises a terrifying question. How many of these portals are still active today? And if they were sealed once long ago, who or what is trying to open them again? The Black Chasm may not just be another dark legend. It may be the strongest evidence that physical gateways to the spiritual world do exist, and that some of them are far from dormant. But this is only the beginning. Because there is another portal, even more feared, even more documented, and considered by many to be the true gate described in ancient scripture. A place where supernatural encounters continue to happen to this day. And that is a mystery we uncover only in the next part. If you want to discover which location is considered the most dangerous portal on Earth, leave your like, subscribe, and comment. I want part 2. The truth is unfolding, and the next revelation will change everything.